Hey guys, so the other day somebody asked me, Ryan, what do you do different now than you did 20 some years ago when you first started lifting? I thought, you know what, that's a great question, and I think that you guys could learn something from it and maybe learn some things and do some things quicker than it took me to do. So I'm going to talk about 7 things that I'm doing different now than when I first started lifting 27 years ago. So the first thing I would say is flexibility. Now what I mean by that is being able to work around my schedule, other people's schedule, whether that's days of the week, hours of the day. I mean, I love training the same time of the day. It makes things so much easier with nutrition and whatnot. But life happens and you gotta learn to pivot. And that's one big thing that I've gotten better at over the years, is being able to be flexible. So number 2, this is the second thing that I've done different over the years, and that is focusing on recovery. Now, recovery is involving a lot of different things, but I would say in no specific order. Sleep, water, making sure that I'm aware of my physique as far as what's still not quite there, what needs more rest. But recovery is key, and honestly I think that's probably one of those things that's really helped me stay in the game for over 27 years. So that would be my second thing. The third thing would be failure. And what I mean by that is not training to failure as frequent as I used to. And this really came to light when I had shoulder surgery and I was rehabbing it. And it amazed me how little you really need to do in order to make progress. And when you go to failure or you do other intensity techniques like supersets or drop sets or forced reps or negatives or anything like that, you put a lot of stress on your system. And there is a place for that, and I certainly still do some of that, but not as frequently as often. In fact, when I'm training a body part, typically in a specific day, in a specific training session, I'll take 1 set to failure and that is it. Everything else, I've got 1 or 2 reps in the tank, or call that an 8 or 9 RPE, or reps rate of perceived exertion. So again, keeping failure lower than I used to. The fourth thing that I'm doing now that I didn't do then is better warm-ups. Now that doesn't necessarily mean longer warm-ups, it means more efficient warm-ups. It also means more effective warm-ups. So looking at muscle activation, if needed, get the body temperature up and really making it specific. So in other words, depending on what my training session is that day, my warm-up might be different, okay, and likely is different. Similarly, if I need more of a warm-up, then I'm gonna go longer or less of a warm-up. Just yesterday I was doing a lower body session in the afternoon, which is different for me. I was being flexible with my schedule. And I really didn't do much of a warm-up at all because I've been moving around all day. So again, though, the importance of those warm-ups are critical, not just for performance, but also for injury prevention. Number 5. This one is all about learning. And in fact, specifically, it's learning new things, trying new things. This could be new techniques, new movements, new exercises, just different things. And, with social media, it's a great way to learn new things. It's not everything's worth learning, but it opens you up to some options. And so trying new things and experimenting, staying uncomfortable. And I think that's just a general good theme in life. You see me hashtag that all the time, be uncomfortable. And that's just one more example of that. But again, trying new things and being open-minded and experimenting. All right, here's a big one. Number 6. Is timing my rest periods. So I actually have a stopwatch down in my gym right there on my training log, and I will time my rest periods. The reason I do that is really twofold. The first is lots of distractions these days, especially with smartphones and things on my mind, what do I gotta do next, things like that. So holding myself accountable with that stopwatch is big, so then that way it helps me get to where I need to be and not lose time. The second big reason I do that is for consistency. In other words, when my training log, I always go back and look at the prior week and see, okay, what were my numbers? Let me try and beat that. Well, if my rest periods are all over the board, sometimes less, sometimes more, I can't go back there and use that as an apples to apples comparison. But if I know that my rest period is X amount of time, then okay, that eliminates that factor. And so I can go back in and try to compare and beat last time and be more consistent. So again, timing rest periods, whether you use a stopwatch like me, smartphone, look at the clock, whatever, but that's something I definitely do different than I used to. Okay, number 7, the last one. What I've done different than I used to, not comparing myself. And who do I used to compare myself to? Obviously other outside people, thinking, oh wow, that person's physique's amazing, or that person strong and I want to hit those lifts or whatever. But not just outside people, but also myself. Going back and comparing myself and my former self. You always want to improve, you always want to get better, but there's times that you're going to have setbacks and it's not a fair comparison to yourself. Maybe your schedule's different, maybe you have different demands, maybe you're overcoming an injury, things like that. Certainly going outside and looking at other people and comparing yourself to others isn't healthy either. It's okay to go out and recognize a person, and that could be motivating, but you don't want to pass that slippery slope and then that start to be discouraging because you're not holding up to that person. So again, look within, don't compare yourself. That's something that I've learned over the years, still learning, but that's something I definitely do different now than I did back then. All right, so I hope these 7 things you got something out of. I appreciate everybody's questions. Keep them coming. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. Until next time, keep making every day count.